In this video, we're going to go through a database and figure out how to adjust queries on the fly. So let's say we have our UML, we kind of know how the table is structured because we've drawn out all the tables. We want to go in and we want to use a database like this. It's pretty big. We want to figure out what we can find out within this database. The first thing to do is just identify some of the key tables, and the UML should help you do that. In this, customer, employee, and orders are probably the most useful tables. All the other things kind of connect things. Animals might be another one, but we're going to focus on orders, customer, and employee. Let's start with orders. So to get a rough idea of how many orders we have in the database, we can do a simple select statement. All right, we have about 205 orders. If we want to see how many orders we have per customer, we can break that up by customer. We can also look into, we can actually put the customer's name if we do from orders natural join customers. And instead of customer, we do customers.last name. When we're doing the queries, sometimes we might get an error, and it means we have to look into the table to figure out why we get that error. In this case, customer's last name doesn't actually exist. Instead, we're looking at customer.company. No such table customers. Well, right here it's customer. So used to SQL using S at the end. So I'm going to take that S off. Here we go. You'll face a lot of these errors. You'll get errors popping up all the time, and it's really important to look over your table names, look over your attribute names, and that's why I think UML can be really useful, making sure you're using the same UML, you're being able to find the links and whatnot. In this case, let's say we want it to, we're looking at all this and we want to make a graph over our top companies that order from us. Well, we can't just do a group by, we should also do order by. And if we want to order by the count, which would make the most sense, we have to name it something. So as. So here we can make a pretty nice graph just by copying all of this data. So we can right click, copy, opening up Microsoft Excel, which you can get free through the school's website, pasting the data in there. Probably want to name this count. And then we just want to highlight everything, insert. You can even have it recommend you some charts. And there you have pretty clear picture of the companies that order the most. Let's say we want it to just focus on the top 10 to make the chart a little bit more focused. We can highlight them, and another trick we can do is we can first calculate the sum and then divide each number by the sum. Now this is a really basic Excel thing. There we go. So that's 5.5%. In order to make sure that our sum always includes all these values, we're going to put dollar signs inside the numbers. What the dollar sign means is that the reference will not move as we copy the formula. So Blue Sport accounts for 5% of our sales. And all of these down here account for less than 1% of our sales. So let's say we want to show the companies that count for 50% of our sales. Let's do 73, 65, 55, getting closer. But this is a process that just takes a little bit of time to go through. So the top 13 companies account for about 50% of our sales. Sorry, the top 12. I always get a little thrown off when we have to start counting it too. So if I just want to show data on that, I could highlight these. I'm going to insert a chart, and let's say we wanted to do a pie graph. Each of them is pretty evenly divided, so that doesn't really help us here. That's probably why when we went to insert and did recommended charts, so now we have a chart that says 50% of all sales comes from these companies. And if you just want to count the number of companies, we have 53 companies, and 50% of sales comes from 20 or 12 of them. So this is pretty significant. Those are probably customers that we want to focus on. So that would be a good way to represent the data using an SQL query that you kind of went through and updated as you went, a Excel formula that allows you to get the data in a little bit cleaner manner, and then a chart. When you're making a PowerPoint, Excel charts are really easy to add. You just copy them, and then I really like pasting them as an image. You can paste them as a link so that if your data changes, it'll change in the PowerPoint. But I typically do it as an image so that even if I move the workbook or don't update the workbook, I still have an image to put on my PowerPoint. Alright, that's how you go from SQL to Excel to prepare your PowerPoint for this week.